Hey Beale Street Theater friends, Matt Hecht here for session 3 of our monologue series. So just a quick recap. Section 1, we talked about selecting a monologue. One thing I forgot to mention is when selecting a monologue, I typically recommend don't select something from the play that you're auditioning for. Especially not the character you're auditioning for. I know that's kind of the first go-to, but I typically recommend finding something else, like we mentioned, the same genre or the same playwright. Session 2 was preparation, right? All the homework that goes into it and all the very important things that goes into it that makes you look like a superhero. So now we're on session 3, which is really break it down, right? So this is about how we take a look at our piece and break it down so that we can really absorb it and get into it. So what I have is I have my piece from two gentlemen from Verona, from Lance, and when I selected it, it was this whole page here, and as I read through it, I found that it was too long. So remember, we talked about usually auditions will tell you between 1 and 2 minutes or not more than a minute. Whatever it is, make sure you stick to whatever those time guidelines are. This was about 2.5 minutes as I was just reading through it. I timed myself. I recommend that you do the same. And so I ended up with this selection right here. It's right at about 1.5 minutes or so, and that's really the juiciest part of the monologue. So that's kind of step 1 and break it down. You have your piece, but first shop it out and make sure that you can get it in the time frame that you are looking for. First concept that I want to share about is this idea of chunking. It's kind of a word that's used for a lot of different things in theater, but it's the concept of breaking things down into a few lines or a paragraph or a chunk, as it were, and then address each of those chunks individually, and then you string the chunks together. So that helps a lot with memorization. That's one big thing that we do with Disney musicals in schools, and they're a big proponent on chunking. Now, one measurement component, I guess, that's even finer than that is what's called the beat. And so that's what we're gonna talk about today, is a beat analysis. So what a beat analysis is, it is a review of the text here and breaking it down into the individual beats. Now, a beat is defined as a change in objective or motivation. So really, anytime there's a change in emotions or objective that the character has. Now, beats can be, objectives rather, can be large and small. So if we take Hamlet, right, his overall objective is to avenge his father's death, right? But individually, in each scene, he has smaller objectives. An objective can be something as simple as walk across the stage and be angry about something, right? So what we've done here in a monologue, I think it's really important to break the beats down because this helps you identify the emotion and the objective in which that we're delivering the lines. So in my selection here, I've got a couple beats that I wanted to share with you. So he's talking about, so let me catch you up. Lance is trying to describe to everyone how his family responded when he was leaving with Sir Proteus to go on this big escapade, and everyone was crying and everyone was sad. So we jump right into it. I picked, "Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this shoe is my father. No, this shoe is my mother." So what we've done there is we've broken those sections down into 3 separate sections that identify that this shoe is my father. No. This shoe is my father. No, that cannot be so. This shoe, yes, this shoe is my mother. So you can see how those were separate identifiable beats there, right? I could have read it as, "Nay, I'll show you the meaning of it. This shoe is my father. This shoe is my father. No, this shoe is my mother." But what that does is it really breaks it down Another fun way to break down a beat, a beat can be something as small as a one-syllable word, and a beat can be something as small as no words at all and just an action. So I have a beat where we talk about how his sister moans. And so I took a beat right there, and we talk about, or that we hear the sister moaning, and so that's its own beat there. I also have a line here. The line is, so, now I come to my father. And so I took the opportunity there to take that so as 3 separate beats. So it's going to be read something similar to this. So, now I go to my father. So you can see how those 3 different one-syllable words actually represented different mindsets of the character. The first one, he's got it, he knows what he's talking about. So, he's losing it, he's forgotten, he's confused himself, and then he gets back on track. So, then I go to my father. So those are some bold choices that you can choose when you're breaking it down. So just to recap, beat analysis, go through the section that you've whittled down, and then put down your beats. I also have some notes here for the actions that I'm going to do along with that. And I'll tell you, by the time you're done with this, it's all gonna be locked in your head, and it's gonna make memorization way easier. So one last thing before we go, I wanted to give a shout out. I'm wearing my theater shirt from 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Miss Crystal Dooley and Yvette. And we had such a fun time with that show. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. You're not going stir crazy. Work on monologues, find a selection, do the beat analysis, and then next time we're going to talk about leveling it up. And then game day, when you get to perform it like a superstar. Stay safe out there.